This isn't about being bogged down in the past. This is about making sure the past isn't buried. That's the only way forward. That's what great nations do. They don't bury the truth. They face up to it.
President Biden speaking from the U.S. Capitol this morning, marking the 1 year since the deadly siege on the U.S. Capitol. The president recalling the violent day, blaming his predecessor, former President Trump, for inciting the attack. Fox 5's Tom Fitzgerald back at the Capitol a year later. Fitz, what stood out to you from this speech?
Well, there were a couple of things in the president's checklist that he wanted to accomplish in this speech. There was an overall theme of unity in the American people that he says he would like to see restored prior to what it was. The president also took pains today to thank law enforcement, and specifically thanking members of the Metropolitan Police Department who responded here to the Capitol last January 6th, the members of the D.C. National Guard who were later called in to quell the violence, and also, of course, the U.S. Capitol Police who were on the very front lines of that hand-to-hand combat and had to respond, even though they were overwhelmed by the large numbers of protesters. But, you know, Marina, I would say what really stood out about this was the stark references to Biden's predecessor, former President Donald Trump, at one point saying, quote, that Trump tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power as a violent mob breached the Capitol. He also went on to eviscerate the former president for remaining in the White House, making phone calls, but not, in Biden's words, doing enough to quell the violence that was unleashed up here on Capitol Hill 1 year ago.
And there's obviously a committee now investigating what happened that day and who really is behind the accountability or would take responsibility for what happened on January 6th. Are we any closer to really knowing that answer?
Well, you know, this investigation is really going on in two tracks. The Justice Department, which is prosecuting a lot of these cases that we've talked to you about these individuals, they are looking at, you know, individual acts. Who broke a window? Who punched a police officer? Who committed violence in the building? What the Congressional Select Committee is doing is more big picture. You know, was there a conspiracy here to launch this insurrection? What did the former White House staffers know? When did they know it? What did they do? What were their communications with each other? Now, a lot of the Select Committee work has gone on behind the scenes. Marina, we can tell you that we know that the Select Committee is about to move into a new environment of this investigations, and that is going to be public hearings up here on Capitol Hill. We're expecting those starting in the next couple of weeks.